Hi, welcome to the end of week 2 already. Can you believe it? This is going to be over in no time. 8 weeks go by like a flash, especially with a great topic like what we're having here. So this is our second week review, and I want to cover two topics today. Both have to do with the writing and the submissions you're making. First of all, please don't forget, when I grade you, I love this feature that I can actually interact with you personally. I put in a grade and I usually write a little something on the bottom so you see what's going on and where I'm coming from. If you didn't do very well on the grade, on an individual essay or on an individual assignment, I usually, especially in the beginning of this semester, I give you a chance to resubmit it. I write down if you want to resubmit it before Friday at 5 o'clock is usually the time, then feel free to do so. And I'll do this for a couple of weeks and then we're going to stop, because then you know what I'm looking for. I find it's only fair that I give you a second chance as I grade things, so we can get used to each other. You know what I'm expecting. So please take advantage of that, and most importantly, read my feedback. When you see that you got a grade, go into the grading center, look at what your grades are, and then look at my comments in there. That'll help you. Just overall, the one thing I'd like you all to do is, before you submit something to me, please read out loud what you're giving me. Because otherwise, I can see how many of you write this and it's sort of something in your mind and you write this down. Very difficult for me to read sometimes. Just give it a try. Read it out loud to somebody and just see if this makes sense. Because sometimes it's frequently difficult for me to understand. So please just do that, and that will fix the biggest problem I have. About the two, I just want to go back to the last essay that we did the first week, just to close on that. And specifically, not the essay, but the two things are always connected. The news search. I sent out an email earlier, or an announcement, that on the news search, what I want you to do is to find for-profit companies, and yet many of you have had real trouble finding for-profit companies to show the positive. How does a for-profit company reflect the participation in God's creative power? Give me a positive example. More than half of you chose Tom's Shoes, and I think that's okay. It's a for-profit company, and that's fine, and certainly they do reflect that. But I think it's sad that there's so many of you who don't find other companies. What about the baker, the bakery in your neighborhood, or the banker, or the car dealership, or your parents or your financial planner? These all do this, because what we're looking for is somebody who takes natural resources, even resources of the mind, just ideas, and makes something out of them that wasn't there before. Somebody who creates something more. And that is the essence of what it means to reflect God's creative power, or to participate in God's creative power. The landscaper does that, and this is a for-profit landscaper. This is one thing I'd like to really drive home to you through the course of this course. Is that there's nothing wrong with profit. As a matter of fact, profit is as necessary as oxygen is in the room that you're sitting in right now for you. Profit to a company is like oxygen to a human being. If you're not living to think of oxygen, but if I take it away, you'll be dead in 3 to 5 minutes. And that's a little bit what profit is to a company. So we have to stop looking at profit as something negative. Even a strong profit is a great thing. Think of the gardener, how happy the gardener is when there's a lot of tomatoes on the vine. And that is in a way how God regards your profitability. The question is how you create this profit. If you create this profit perfectly fine and morally, then good for you. God bless you for making a lot of profit. There's nothing wrong with that. And I want to ratchet up one more level to this. Many of you chose Tom's because they're having this 1 for 1. You buy one, you get one free. Look, all that Tom is doing is giving you a 50% discount. And then what he does is he says, okay, not a 50%, but I'll give you a 75% discount given that I have a 50% margin, the 25%, which is how much a pair of shoes costs me, I'm just going to give one of those shoes to somebody in a poor country. That works for you sitting at home, for you buying this pair of shoe. But think about what this really does when many of you write about the sustainability this creates in the emerging markets. And there I'd have to disagree with you. Have you ever been in a society or seen a society that doesn't make shoes? Every society makes shoes. Do they give away their shoes for free? No, of course not. No sustainable economy can give away anything for free. And here we are, Tom's Shoes, and we go into some of the poorest countries and poorest areas where God knows there's hardly anything to sell, and we're giving away shoes. Something of the most basic things that they could make themselves and sell to each other, we come in and give it away for free. What do you think that does to the local economy? Do you think that's sustainable by giving everybody shoes? And then we give them shoes, which we give away for free. And guess what that does to the local cobbler, the people who actually make shoes locally? Well, in one word, it's bankruptcy. It drives, when Tom's Shoes shows up and gives away a truckload of free shoes, that pretty much seals the fate of the local cobbler. What if Tom's Shoes doesn't show up the following year? There's no more cobbler. That's not sustainability. Then they will really go without shoes. Whereas the first year, maybe not everybody has shoes, but but there is a cobbler there, and they produce shoes, and we could help. Maybe we could help them buy a shoe, or even better yet, we should work with solutions that involve them rather than doing something to them. We should do something with them. That is what brings about sustainability. So maybe Tom's Shoes shouldn't give away shoes, but they should help the local cobbler create the shoes or create more jobs so that everybody has a job and provides the shoes. You see, that's sort of we have, and all of us are perfect examples of this in our society, in how we're struggling with this, to actually accept for-profit business as a good. But let me tell you this. If you are your local baker, your local bakery, the car mechanic, any local store, if you put $1 of an investment into one of those companies, the effect of that is $12 generated in the local economy. And this is a for-profit business. If this is a for-profit business, I put $1 of an investment in there. What that person will do, or what that investment will have, is a $12 effect on the local economy, besides the mechanic who makes a profit themselves. See, this is what we call making money. And what we need to do in this class is to completely redefine and re-understand what it means to do business. And that business by itself, there's no such thing as, think about this. So this mechanic goes into a territory or into their market, and they create a profitable business, and every time they get a $1 investment, they make $12 locally and create jobs, and on average support partially support something like 20 to 50 other businesses which they are buying from and they're selling to and all that. And now we're going back to this person and say, hey, you have to give something back to society. I don't think that's the case. I think they have given something to society in the first place. What do you mean they have to give something back? They've never taken anything. What they're doing, by the mere essence of doing business in a community, you're actually being a good to that community. And so that whole idea with the for-profit, non-profit, I think let's exclude for non-profits, and we can have another argument about this. In this class, let's not talk about non-profits anymore, because I push that over into the government side, and just business ethics should apply to for-profits. And when we talk about for-profits, in and by itself, a person like Bill Gates, even if he never gave away one dime of his money, has generated a good in society that is immeasurable compared to the little money in comparison that he received as a bonus or as a windfall profit of what he received himself. So, the other thing now, we're talking about culture, and Mike Fairbanks' essay on the 7 forms of capital. And many of you have already started to read some of your essays, start to talk about, well, culture, and then you use the terms good and good for society and positive culture and so on. You're right, this is all true, and you're using that in a general sense. I'd like us, remember how we talked about it, I want you to create a compass for yourself. Just saying good isn't good enough. What do you mean by good? What is good? I want you to drill down to that and say, there are certain cultural traits, certain ways of thinking, certain beliefs. A belief that innovation is good, for example, or a belief, like we just said, that a business is a good in it by itself. That's a cultural belief, which we're actually losing. But that a business is good in and by itself, that's a good belief. This is in my system. I'm not saying you have to believe the same thing, but I'm saying you should create your own belief so that when you're saying, from now on, if you're starting to say good, I want you to tell me what you mean by that. Because otherwise, this is too much generalized. We're trying to create a compass here. And so we have to be much more precise of what we say. Well, what is good and what isn't good? What is the belief system behind this? And if you're saying, well, I'm not sure, then what I want you to think about before you finish your essay is all of this comes down to one main issue. And that is the why. Why are we doing business? See, that's what ethics is all about. Ethics is the fallout from our question or the answer of why am I doing this? I'm doing this for several reasons. Why am I making a profit? Why am I doing business here? Once we answer that question, out of that falls then our good or bad, right or wrong. And that's not 100% the same for everybody, but I think it goes in the same direction. There's like a thrust of where we're going to go with this. And I think you'll be surprised. We'll be pretty close in our answers, but nonetheless, I would like everybody to make this decision in answering this question of why be good? Why would you be good? And good, what do you mean by being good? Those things that we have to are the things we have to answer. And as we go on in the essays, remember, whenever you write good, whenever you write right or wrong, I want you to be much more specific about it. So this took a little longer than usual, but I felt I just needed to make these 2 points. Instead of writing this into every one of your essays, I just wanted to tell it to you this way. I look forward to reading your essays this week, and I'll see you next week.